All right, I'm going to be putting in my 2 cents on this whole like Romeo drama stuff like that. Because frankly, I think what's going on is pretty scummy, pretty upsetting, pretty heartbreaking with him resigning, according to Lua guy. So let's just get right into it. So starting off, yesterday came home and I saw this little announcement by Lua guy stating this. After several discussions and careful consideration, we've made the decision to part ways with Romeo and end his involvement in the project. Keep that in mind. We've made the decision to part ways with Romeo. This decision was not made lightly. We're currently focusing on rebuilding momentum for the game's progress and strengthening the team's overall structure. As Romeo was stepping away from management indefinitely, the uncertainty around long-term availability would have made the restructuring process more difficult. Keep that in mind. Matter of fact, not keep that in mind. Let's just put this into a big old nothing sandwich right now. So they stated previously, they're contradicting themselves, basically. Let me just say that. They're contradicting themselves in these two paragraphs. First of all, stating, we've made a decision to part ways with Romeo. Then stating that he himself is stepping away from management indefinitely. That's weird, Lua guy. It's almost like you're a big fat fucking liar. Now the rest of this, after, Romeo stepping away definitely, means absolutely nothing. All they're saying is they're adding a new replacement for Romeo. Which is stupid because, let me say, Romeo is the only person actually doing stuff, from what I know anyway. There have been several updates he has posted of his characters, and these guys have done nothing! All they've done is just talk about how, they got a new owner up in here, and then they talk about, not talk about, but they leak all this stuff because they thought, well, this game's fucked because he can't handle a little bit of drama. So we're just gonna post all the leaks and that's it. And then Romeo is all like, no. So yeah, no, I just don't know, man. But then there's a video. This is posted now. This is literally posted right now. Please take a read. Transparency is what we're here to give now. Let's move over to this, shall we? So as you can see, following a direct conversation with Romeo, we're able to provide a transparent look into Romeo's motives for his actions thanks to explanations that he has provided. Please do not harass Romeo. We're not going to. We love Romeo. We don't like you, Sobi. You're a useless piece of shit. That's all I'm going to say. Before you assume this post, yes, permission was given to be sharing this. Okay, so that means Romeo did nothing wrong here. Let's look at this. All right, I don't want any lies or nothing. Everyone please state truthfully how you feel towards each other in the situation. At the moment, Romeo can't VC because he is eating, so he also might take a bit to reply. But please, before making any assumptions, please wait for any proof for the other person to speak, since we don't want more miscommunication and misinformation. Pie Cupcake, you seem like the go right now. That's pretty tough. I like this kitty. I like this little kitten. I'd like to say, who is Alpie? Who the hell is Alpie? Anyway. Hello. Hi. PR just told me everything, so does anybody want to start off? Alright, so honestly, I'm just gonna start skipping through and like showing all the parts that actually mean something, because there's a whole lot of just like, I can't text right now, true text as prose. This means nothing right here. Romeo, I'm sorry, but whatever you just said here means nothing. Alright, well, Alpire, Sobi, do you guys want to state anything so far, since for this I'll advocate for both sides, since I know all sides now. And he's going to get water. That's pretty important information in my opinion. Now Sobi, the useless owner he is, states, well, for starters, we aren't quite happy with how you've been managing things yourself, Romeo. We are upset with how you instantly went public that brought us to assumptions yesterday. If you read the full message, or just read the part you were fired and didn't want to talk with Lua directly, this guy cannot text for anything, dude. He tries to sound professional, and then doesn't know how to use like punctuation or anything, but that's whatever. I had to come talk to you regarding our own concerns of some things that, of course, involve PR, which you managed to do. Of course, this didn't lead to anywhere too much because you continued to post actively on your socials, which brought other things to us that made us more skeptical about you and your intentions. You're jealous. Just say you're jealous that Romeo's the GOAT and you're not, because you're lazy, you're useless. You're nothing. I have a lot more to discuss because this is only just the start of things. You made things sound twisted in almost every single statement you've made, even today, and now you're attempting to pull an Altaz move, which is scummy to do, Romeo. He's not trying to pull an Altaz. Altaz made a video, like a documentary, about something that's totally unrelated. Everything could have gone okay if it wasn't for Altaz. Altaz, in my opinion, is not a good person, just because he kind of, made a video about something that was gone. It was done with. Anyway, but Romeo, he's, talking about something that is related to him because he was fired for no reason. You're hurting real people and placing others in danger, and for what? I asked to why. Now, Romeo pulls up with this huge, line of text saying, for starters, I only posted that tweet statement about my firing as early as I did because Lua guy told me he was making my huge air quotes resign public through an announcement that the literal moment he DM'd everything to me while I was asleep. It is explicitly stated as such in his message. I felt like I had the right to take this as well to my socials to clarify my end of things the moment I was made notice of this DM. After the PR situation, I continued to post my frustrations with this situation because quite literally nobody was talking to me about it. No one involved, no one with at least a slight bit of info outside of PR. No one. I didn't have any bad intentions with my posts, but this also clocks back to another general issue this team has had, and that's communication. No one told me the harm that was coming from my posts, even the countless ones where I state not to attack anyone involved. This comes down to me simply not knowing anything. The statements I made today were ones I posted because I am tired of this, Toby. Why would I be kicked from this dev server without notice again, without DMs again, while I'm asleep again? And it also got to the point today where I just didn't even know who to go to, especially after your own post last night about you quitting. You were not on my mind then for those concerns. PR did clarify to me why I was booted, but then again, that just brings me to the question of why? Why am I still not being told anything? Especially not something as simple as this. I don't know what Altaz move you're even talking about either. I do not. Exactly! We don't know because he's so dumb. Sobe's so stupid. Anyway, I do not endorse the vague posting as it was literally something I live reacted to with PR in a call the moment he saw it. I have nothing to do with whatever's happening over there. Simple. But this whole thing came down to abysmal communication and issues that stem from miscommunication that shouldn't even exist because they don't know how to talk. Romeo, I love you. Romeo is basically just saying he talked about the whole firing situation as early as he did because Lua guy was already making that public. Romeo just wanted to get his whole side of things out there because, that's his right. Then he goes on to talk about how after the PR situation, he continues to, talk about it on socials because nobody was talking to him. He could not get into access, communications with anybody because nobody wanted to talk about it. Then he also states the fact that, they're talking about how communication was a problem, but he was also kicked from the dev server without notice, without DMs, and while he was asleep. Then he just basically talked about he didn't know who to go to because, the only thing he got was PR clarifying that he was booted from the server. Then Sobe replies with the fact that, he was kicked from the server because he was already fired, then the removal of the work that he had already publicly made clear. Then, apparently, according to Sobe, which I find this very interesting, I'm going to read this one. Also, the Altaz part is a complete lie. We received going public threats from you towards others that seem very malicious as a way to silence us and proceeding to plot something with a random figure on Twitter with another we read that involves a video with you and OM content creators. You can't just push away the obvious that we all saw and read. Then Alpine, goes on, are you kidding me? You should have known that these tweets that you were saying could bring harm due to the fact that you have such, wide cult following. Basically, Romeo states here that, the only reason they knew about the video, first of all, was he told PR so he could mentally prepare himself ahead of time. Then he states that the video was not meant to be a weapon to silence them or endanger anybody involved. It was more of a final message or a last resort on his defense of what he had personally been going through with this situation. Then he goes on to state here that, he had nothing to go off of because, like, in terms of contacting people, to, talk about it, because, just didn't have anything. Then he says that he tweeted his frustration because the situation was already public, which makes sense. Okay, Sobi can't read. The video was supposed to be secret, which is considered a weapon. No, he already stated why it wasn't a weapon. You can't read, my friend. Why is this guy the owner of a game? And that you claim to have no part endorsing these vague posts, but yet proceed to allow them due to your frustration. What is he supposed to do? Stop, guys. The production was only meant to be secret. The video was 100% going to be more open before its release if the situation was escalated further the way that it had been these past 2 days. Okay, I guess I was wrong. And no, I literally never allowed them. I stated in my previous message that I requested takedowns of every single one I could possibly do. It was unwarranted and not something I was aware of. So Romeo's still the good guy. These guys suck. Then Alpi proceeds to bring up this quote that Romeo had apparently said. Any breaking of this respect and my boundaries will result in deeper trouble we don't need to be dealing with right now. And this says, that sounds like a threat to me. This was about Devilish and Starved. I said this because the situation that specific message was sent in was one that could have only been resolved if Devilish himself was present in it. Sorry. So basically, this is already resolved. Basically, right here, they're going on a game of Ring Around Rosie, talking about, oh, this is a threat. No, it's not. This is not what I meant. It's literally just nothing. In that video is not everything. There is so much more to talk about that I don't even know where to start. First of all, let me start off with the fact that nobody knows why Romeo was fired. Not the mods, not the higher-ups, not the owners of the servers. There's literally no, there's nothing. There's no context. There's nothing that we can go off of because they won't say anything. Here's example 1. Sobi tweeted this. I'm being told way too much of things I'm not involved, but it gets to a point. I wanted to take a break from this game, and as soon as 2 weeks go by from that one situation, another spirals. This game is just cursed. And no, it wasn't Lua who made the final call. I'm hearing too much about this whole Romeo situation, and I don't want to be involved. I'm genuinely so out of the loop. Well, Sobi, it seems we know that you like damage control. I think you're lying. I think Sobi lied. Alright guys, I'm whipping out the ukulele for this one because I was actually proven wrong by our good dear friend P6GN. I did mention the fact that Lua guy has not said anything since the announcement he made, so I thought that was a good enough reason to why, it's him who fired Romeo, and while that is technically correct, it's also incorrect due to the fact that it was already stated by Sobi that, Lua guy was, coerced into firing Romeo, I guess you could say. So I do just want to say that I was wrong. Just pelt me with rocks, put my head on a pike, yeah. He even knows that so many people loved him to the point where even mods at this point are risking their mod for him. The main mod I'll be talking about is Evil Chicken, because as of recently they posted this. Why is this so important, you ask? Because no mod has dared stand up for Romeo. No mod has dared request fan art for Romeo. They even stopped fan art from coming in for Romeo because they didn't know how Sobi or Lua guy would feel about it. Sobi has not made any public announcements, at least, saying that, Romeo fan art was okay. Okay guys, some developments have been made since I had recorded the video last night. As of 2:45 p.m., January 26, 2026, Outcome Memories has officially been canceled, stated by Sobi. Let me just read you guys this. Development will not progress further more after recent events. I don't think I have the place to say how much it hurts me, but this game has put many, many people at risk and danger. This game has put my life in jeopardy. I was doxxed last night. Someone came over around 3:40 a.m. in the morning, throwing hard snowballs at my window that I managed to record 3 times. I woke up from loud banging with constant bashing on my door after police arrived. I am genuinely sorry to those out there who enjoyed this game, who tried their best to keep hope, but none of us can continue this. Some people in this community haven't made this easier for any of us. The constant harassment going towards all people only because we tried to speak up. There isn't any positivity about this project anymore. It's all been shattered. I am tired of dealing with the constant controversy. We all are. My doings. I understand that what was posted by me might have been manipulative, but that was me in Alpi being blunt. We had to work with what was being said towards people, but no one wanted to believe that. Me and Alpi weren't even supposed to be put into this mess, so please stop going after Alpi and others. He was only wanting to help. I was wanting to help, and I will admit we were both very harsh, but we took the word on the be honest. None of it was intended at all to be malicious. No one is or was trying to be biased, but with what was being said by Romeo towards us people behind the scenes was not making it easier on us. People held the Raven situation against me, and I understand why. I have nothing else to contribute to this community anymore. I understand too with what was posted lacked about the reasoning to why Romeo was pushed off. As much as I do want to speak up about this, I'm only going to shut off by the community because of what people want to believe. Both parties completely up, and that's final. Thank you to those who tried their best to hold on to this game. Thank you to all the developers and EXE creators for everything they've done who did their best to contribute to this project. This game has been facing the same repeated issues for the longest. What happened now is beyond, and I hated that I had to put myself through this because it only led to destruction and danger towards my family. What's going to happen to the game? I'll most likely be closing or archiving the game. I am deeply sorry that the promises for Fleetway and everything are broken. I'm no good owner. I've made many mistakes here and there. What's going to happen between everyone on the team? I'm stepping away from everything. I'm going back to living my normal life. Everyone else is moving on. Some tried to hold hope on the team, but the name Outcome Memories is already damaged enough, and it wouldn't feel right rebranding. Will the game ever return? No. You can attempt making a revival yourself. Do whatever you want. I suggest checking out alternative games that are similar to OM in the workings. Memory Lane, Executable Disruption. There are a lot of other games that aren't just Sonic in the ASIM genre in the makings that I highly recommend checking out. Anything I did is inexcusable. Our mental health matter more than the game. Now, I know what I said towards Sobi is I still hold on to because that is my opinion. In the video, he did seem like he was trying to manipulate, stuff like that, but in the end, things should not have ended up like this. I don't think any of this should have happened, personally, which doesn't really mean anything because I didn't really do anything, but, that still stands. It disappoints me that people were going to his house over this. Yes, I was too upset about Romeo being fired, but that is no reason to be going to somebody's house and just trying to attack them, I guess. But that being said, Outcome Memories is no longer a game.